In the film Blue Velvet, Kyle MacLachlan plays a nice person living in a nice town who crosses over into the dark side to try to save someone. He saves himself and Isabella Rossellini. His odyssey starts when he notices a severed ear in a field on his way home. The lesson of the story? Probably only Christ alone can save. And when you come across a severed ear in a field, it's probably best to just keep on walking. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This Sunday, we talked about how everything we believe about the universe is probably wrong, and about how all science is theory. Also talked about having a Kickstarter program, and in order to learn, you often have to become very uncomfortable. We talked about the new book, Beyond Expertise, and about going to Antarctica. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Jeremiah. The Lord will bring down retribution on my persecutors. And from Romans, we're best to try to outdo each other in showing honor to the Lord. The gospel reading was from Matthew. There are some who will not taste death before the coming of the Lord. The sermon at Washington National Cathedral was by Rose Duncan. Rose preached about how an event can shake what we believe. The event can be a loss or a challenge or even a time of joy, which can shake us to the core. Rose said that Jesus is he's preparing us for what's ahead. We believe Christ is going to lead us in an overthrow of our political oppressors, but this is not so. Jesus isn't talking about the Roman occupiers who lord over us with taxation without representation. That's enough to balk at, but Christ admonishes us to get behind me, Satan, because we're setting our sights on human things and not on the divine. Our taxation issues will take care of themselves, but our soul, well, that's God's business. At St. James, the sermon was by Stephen Balke. He preached about how when we see ourselves as a favored disciple, we can be blind. It can be a stumbling block to seeing what can and can't be. Stephen asked if we can baptize someone with Gatorade. And if so, then is it just the water in the Gatorade that's doing the baptism, or is it the complete essence of the Gatorade? Even if we separate out the artificial stuff, we still need to consider what's the intent. Is it the intent to be Gatorade or to fill some higher purpose? And then is that purpose God's purpose or is it our purpose? And then who decides stuff like this? And the people who decide the stuff, have they just somehow inserted themselves in the equation of it all for the betterment of the outcome or for the betterment of themselves? We can always end the conversation or we can press on for greater understanding. Stephen believes God is calling us to press on for the greater understanding. And that often takes us to the uncomfortable place. And it gets really uncomfortable when we realize we've confused ourselves with God's purpose. God doesn't care about the Gatorade. He cares about us. It was Labor Day weekend, and at Riverside Church in Rockford, Illinois, the sermon was by Pastor Bobby. Bobby preached about Jesus turning the water into wine. Bobby said this marked a turning point in Christ's ministry because it was about him stepping off into the dark side between expectations and outcomes. He upset the apple cart by stepping outside his station in life to try to save someone. He said, I'm not this because I'm this, and this is what this looks like. It did not go well. The people in the I'm this business were not amused because it's always someone's business to be the arbiters of what is by grifting on it. Eventually, Jesus needed to get a lawyer, but Christ didn't have one, so he represented himself. And his crime? He was a threat to those who were in the threats business. Jesus couldn't play the victim because he was the perpetrator of the crime. Anyone who feels threatened is inclined to disagree because there are a lot of perks in playing the victim. Anyone who suffers for another person commits the perfect victimless crime. And the inclined part, well, that's the difference between being a Christian and being something else. At the end of the film Blue Velvet, it seemed like a lot of trouble to go to just to pull one person out of this seamy underside of life. But that's Christ's mission, to literally go to hell to try to save someone. And that someone is hopefully you and hopefully me. We can try and save ourselves, and all the while, God is up to something else. And for that something else, we can all be grateful. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.